Man, it's about that time. It's about that time for the taking head sports show right here, man. Your boy G Long in the building. What's up, Rashad?
Oh man, Rashad Mills, just excited to ride along with my guy G Long, man, to talk some sports. Happy to be back in this platform, man, where we can talk sports, talking head sports. Let's go.
Man, I'm definitely happy to have you here with me, man. And we're thankful for everyone that's tuned in right now. And we really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. And we're going to start off with giving a little background about who we are and why we love sports so much. I'll move to the side if Rashad want to share first.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. A lot of people know me as Rashad Mills, man of God, therapist, father to the twins.
Hmm.
All these things actually count, but not a lot of people know, man. I have a background as a sports broadcaster. So from 2006 to
Right.
2008, in the city of Bend, Oregon, a really small city, I had this amazing opportunity to be a sports broadcaster. Man, I love sports. It is something that it's a huge part of my life. And I just love sports, man. And I'm super excited to have this opportunity to be back talking sports. So, how about yourself? What is the George Long story as it relates to sports?
Man, growing up, I would always listen to my father talk about his days as an amateur boxer.
Mm,
He would give me stories about, oh, this Russian guy, he was tough, but I got him though. I got him. He would give me all these stories. And then we would also watch the football games, we would watch the baseball games. So from that, I developed a love for sports. He wasn't really a basketball guy, but I became a basketball guy, and from that day on, I just been loving sports, and I love talking about sports. And I kind of got this idea because also on the Good Life Gospel Show, I would branch off and do like a small sports segment.
okay.
Talk about sports for a little bit, but it wasn't as much as I would like to talk about sports. So I'm glad that we have this full hour to talk about sports. And we're going to jump right in, man. It's NFL season. The
Yeah.
NFL season starts tonight.
Yeah.
It kicks off tonight at Arrowhead Stadium, the home of the defending Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, guess what? They're 6-1, 6-1 favorites to win it all again. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm gonna let them think what they're going to think. Now, do you have any? Well, we already know
It,
who
it,
you
it,
rocking and rolling with. You got the Eagles.
the Philly special T-shirt on the Eagles hat. I mean, listen, I'm so diehard, man. I'm gonna go ahead and show the people. Look, I'm like diehard, diehard, diehard. Like, I'm bleeding green with the Eagles tat. So, man, I'm so excited that football is back because football to me is just bigger than the sport. It's something that families gather around, man. Sundays after church, Saturday
Right.
after. So I'm really excited that the NFL season is actually back. Now, I literally just saw that Travis Kelsey won't be playing tonight. So it was questionable for a really long period of time. And I think they just made the final
Mm.
decision that he won't be back. However, diehard Philly fan, I think that it's impossible to eliminate the Chiefs from Super Bowl talk simply because they have a great head coach in Andy Reid, former Eagles coach. In addition to that, I mean, they
Right.
have generational talent, Patrick Mahomes. Now, I hated Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I did. I did. I hated everything about Kansas City. The only thing that I would say, and I want your thought on this, that I think the Chiefs potentially could be missing is the presence of Eric Bieniemy. Now, one of the things that I noticed in the second half of the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
there was some plays that they noticed, hey, Philly is not too good with this misdirection, and two very critical touchdowns came in the second half. Kansas City, I believe, scored on every drive in the second half. And so that got me thinking, what
Right.
is it going to be like not having Bieniemy? I'm very curious. What is your thought of Eric Bieniemy? He's not there. How influential do you think that would be on the Chiefs this upcoming season?
I think it would be very influential. I really do. I believe that he would be a very great missing piece for them, and they would definitely need him, especially if people believe that they're going to repeat in which I'm gonna get into a little later. I don't think they're going to repeat.
You're adamant
You
about
lucky I don't have my Ravens hat on. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but yes, he's definitely going to be missed, and that's something that they definitely miss, and they will miss, and they will need to try to fill that void some kind of way.
I don't know. One of the things, man, even with my Eagles this year, we have a new offensive and defensive coordinator. And even from the fans' perspective, I don't know if we understand how important it is that it's continuity, right? That you have the same people,
Right.
and during these critical moments and plays, you have an OC or a DC that really knows you. So I don't know. I think the enemy not being there is going to be really, really important. I do.
I definitely do as well. And actually, before we get into the who I'm going to pick to win, or we going to pick to win the divisions, we actually want to get into this week one schedule.
Hmm.
This week one schedule. I'm gonna put it up on the screen so we can see it. And we have the Lions at the Chiefs, which will be tonight. And definitely, I believe that the Chiefs is going to win that game. I mean, easily,
Even despite Kelsey being
blowout.
up, still going with the Chiefs. Are you saying blowout, George?
Yep, blowout.
Ooh, I might give you some pushback. I think the Chiefs win. I think experience prevails tonight. I think Patrick Mahomes, first game of the season. I think Patrick Mahomes is just such a great talent that he'll be Patrick Mahomes regardless of the circumstances. I think the
Right.
line much improved. I really do. Just love their head coach, the energy that he brings. But I don't see blowout. But I see the Chiefs winning this. Now, if this game is played in
So
Detroit, I might lean toward the Lions.
no, but they're in Kansas City.
Yeah,
But I definitely. So you're saying that it's going to be a little closer than
I
I
have
think.
720.
You have what score?
27-20, Kansas City.
27-20.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna write this stuff down because I want to keep track of it. I'm going to go. I'm gonna go 31-14, Kansas City. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So since you brought it up, man, I appreciate you bringing this up. Let's kind of run through them. So tonight you got the Chiefs 31-14. I'm going to jump over.
Hmm.
Obviously, we're in Baltimore, and I know there's going to be a bunch of Ravens fans tuning in and watching. Lamar Jackson got his money. Zay Flowers is in town. OBJ is in town. Rashad Bateman is, by all accounts, he's really healthy and he's ready to go. When we look at this Texans game, this Texans Ravens game at 1 o'clock, where do you go? What is your opinion? And as a Ravens fan, I'm really curious, George. What do you think that Lamar Jackson is going to do? Which version of Lamar do we see? A healthy MVP like Lamar, or one that's riddled with injuries, if I can get it out, and not that good?
We're actually going to see a very healthy, determined, chip on his shoulder type Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
He stayed out so he could, rehab himself. He didn't want to go out there last season injured. So when he goes out there, he wants to go out there at 100%. So I believe that we're going to see an MVP type season
Mm.
from Lamar Jackson. And I believe that him and Odell Beckham will be the best 1-2 punch in the league in the NFL this year.
In the entire league. Now, when you say that, George, you must provide clarity. You must provide clarity. And when you say the best 1-2 punch, are we talking statistically, like yards, receptions, touchdowns? That's a strong statement now.
I'm gonna go with yards and touchdowns
Okay.
because like for
Ooh.
years Lamar didn't really have that big play receiver that he could throw to. Now he has that, and that's not only becomes a target, he's also going to be able. It's going to open up the field more because people are going to have to be worrying about playing Odell Beckham, and that's going to open up the field. And Lamar is going to be able to run for even more yards, even though that may not be his main priority, being that he's been working on his throwing. But I believe that that's definitely going to open up the field for them.
Okay, okay. I could actually see that. Now, here's what I'm actually thinking. I'm actually thinking that this Ravens team in this game alone, right? In this game alone, I think the Ravens
Uh
really,
huh.
really manhandle the Texans. Texans are going to have a rookie quarterback in, right? So I think that the Ravens, they manhandle the Texans. Bigger picture season predictions. What I actually see from this Ravens team, and again, I'm not a Ravens fan at all, but they are a very talented team. Lamar has a bunch of weapons. We know
Right.
the he has with Andrews. We're bringing in the OBJ. Health wise, I don't know. Again, by all accounts, all the things that I hear and read, that OBJ is the healthiest that he's been in a long time. Attitude wise, he's in a great place. Again, Zay Flowers, Bateman, and we talk about Dobbins, right? I think Dobbins is a dog.
Right.
I do. I think Dobbins is a dog.
Yes, he is. He is.
Part of a pit bull, right? He wanted to play hurt, and it's times I heard, and even when he was rehabbing, like, hey, I want to be there playing, right? And so I think this translates to, 10 or 11 wins. I do 10 or 11 wins. I think they're going to be neck and neck. You
Hmm.
give me that look like I'm going under, so I take it that you. Are you going like 12 or
Oh
13?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay,
I'm
okay.
going 13.
13. Okay, the 13 is a high number. I'm going 10 or 11. I think they'll have some hiccups along the way, but I do think that Lamar will, if he stays healthy, I think Lamar has the potential to really be like the MVP that we saw a few years ago, where he was the most dynamic player in all of football. I mean, he really is. He was, and I think he has the potential to do that. Now with OBJ, I see the yardage being 700 to 800 yards. And I know that sounds like a really low number. However, I see touchdowns between 10 and 13. I think in the red zone that
Mm-hmm.
Lamar has, his crutch has been what? Mark Andrews in the red zone. I think now that you
Right.
can't double Andrews, and I think that in the red zone, I think OBJ's skill set will shine. He's not outrunning anybody anymore, but as far as catching the football with his hands,
True.
going up, jumping over people, tapping the toes, 2 feet in bounds, I think he's probably still one of the best in the business, despite, you know,
Route running.
yeah, the injury. So I think in the red zone, I think he'll be like Lamar's guy, but I think he'll have about 10, 13 touchdowns. I think the majority of those, 6 out of those, 7 are going to come in the red zone. I do. I just think that Lamar is going to develop this trust in him. I really, really do.
I do as well. And we're going to see. You said 10 or 11 wins, and I said 13 wins. I definitely believe 13 wins. And
Let me ask you
I
this,
wanted to get these.
George. You believe 13 in the AFC? In the AFC North, we're talking about the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers,
Mm-hmm.
and the Browns. You still see that you got to be you got to face
Mm-hmm.
Joe Price. We have a different Deshaun Watson, a different Steelers team. Ah, 13 is strong, George. Let me write this down. Let me keep receipts of this.
Yeah, write that down.
I'm gonna keep receipts of this, George. This is a strong stance, man, that you're taking. 13 wins.
13 wins.
And where do you
I
see them
definitely believe.
in the division?
You said, where do I see them win in the division? I'm
Yeah.
gonna show you. Actually, the Ravens win the AFC North. They win the AFC North.
Okay.
The Bills win the AFC East.
Okay.
I'll give the Titans the AFC South, and I'm gonna go with the Raiders. The Raiders with the AFC West.
All right. So keep
Then
this
if you
up.
jump over to the
Okay. So keep this up. So I'm jotting this down. I have this written down. So you got the Bills, the
mm,
AFC East. So you had the Titans in the AFC South. Okay. How about that AFC West?
The Chiefs, of course.
So you got the Chiefs, of course. Gotcha. All right.
Chiefs. And if
NFC.
you jump over to the NFC North, I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
Okay.
NFC East, I'm gonna go with the. I don't want to because you have this stuff on, but
Let's go.
but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I'm gonna go
Okay.
with the Eagles.
Smart
The
man.
NFC South. NFC South. I'm actually going to go with the Saints.
Okay. Okay.
And the NFC West, I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
49ers. Okay. All right. So here are mine. Here are mine.
And okay,
Let me give you my
got
rundown. The AFC North. I am, man, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this because I have so much fun bantering back and forth with the Ravens fans. I do see the Ravens winning the division. I do see the Ravens winning the division at the end. I think Corey Hill, that's my guy. Corey Hill chimes in and says facts on the Titans, and then he says Dallas. Corey, what are you doing?
yeah, he got something else for you too. Yeah.
Corey, what are you doing? What are you doing, Corey? You see this? You serious? Anyway, I know I'm gonna regret it, man. I have the Ravens winning. I do. I have the Ravens winning division in Mars State's
Mm-hmm.
home. The AFC East. I don't know why that I'm going to drink the A-Rod Kool-Aid, and I'm drinking the A-Rod Kool-Aid based on the defense, not just offensively. I think it takes a lot of time
Right.
for him and the offensive guys to click. I really, really do. But I think the defense will make a huge difference, right? One of the best defenses in pro football. The AFC South, I'm going to go with the Jags, man. I'm going to go with the Jags. Doug Peterson is a heck of a coach. Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to go with the Jags. The AFC West, the
Good
Chiefs.
pick.
That's a no-brainer for me, right? So if I jump to the NFC North, the NFC North, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to actually write this down. I'm going to go out on a
Yeah,
limb.
it's kind of tough there.
I'm going out on a limb. No A-Rod with the Packers, right? Man, I am going with the Bears for some reason. For some reason, I think Fields. This is a turning point in his career.
Yeah, they had potential.
Yeah,
They definitely had potential.
Yeah, the East. I'm gonna just skip over that. We all know what that looks like. I mean, shall I say more? The NFC East, the NFC South,
The Commanders. I ain't gonna say it, man. They might surprise y'all this year.
George, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
They was winning them preseason games. People was out in DC throwing parades and stuff.
George, don't do it to yourself. We are keeping receipts. We are keeping receipts. Don't do it to yourself. No. The NFC South, man, for some
No, I'm not. I already said the Eagles.
Okay. The NFC South, for some reason, I'm going to say the Saints, the NO. For some reason, I think Derek Carr. For some reason. So my good buddy Corey, one of my dear brothers chimes in. The Bears will be exciting to watch. Corey, I believe that wholeheartedly. The East will be tough. That East will be tough again this season. All teams are at 500 or more. Now, that's I don't think Philly's just going to Philly in Dallas. Washington will be much improved. And the Giants are such, they're really hard. The Giants are really, really hard. So I don't know about them, but I think it's going to be really, really competitive. I really do. But the NFC South, Carr, for some reason, I think Carr's going to be motivated even more, how the situation ended with Vegas. So I think he's going to be on his A game.
Right.
NFC West, I am going to lean toward the Seattle Seahawks. Here's why I'm going toward the Seahawks. I cannot believe that a second-year quarterback coming off of what appears to be a major surgery is going to be in a position to lead them. Now, San Francisco, I mean, in terms of skill players, Debo, Bosa, I mean, they're incredibly talented at the skill positions, right? Trent Williams, I just, for some reason, I think the quarterback play is going to be a notch down. And we know with the NFL, everything happens based on quarterback play. Everything is based on quarterback play.
Yep.
So I am going with the Seahawks to win the division in the NFC North. Yeah, I'm going with the Seahawks.
So you writing all this down for the
I'm
stuff that I can't write down?
Yeah, I'm writing it down. We're going to keep receipts. We're going to keep receipts. I want to go, George, if we can. I want to go back to this AFC East for a moment. And I want to hear your thoughts on picking the Bills.
My thoughts behind picking the Bills?
I'm very curious.
I'll say because the Bills are a very tough team, and they've been playing together for a couple years, so they're getting that chemistry together. And in sports, it's very important and imperative to have chemistry.
Absolutely.
And as long as they can stay healthy, I believe that they win that division easily. Easily.
Okay. So you're not buying
and you said you're going with the Jets.
I'm going with the Jets.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. I don't even actually. Who did the Jets have? Who did the Jets have the first week?
They have the Bills.
The Jets have the Bills. There you go, right there. We going to see it right there.
They have the best. They have the best defense in the AFC East. Man, it's something. I think offensively, it's much harder to click. Again, you had what? You got training camp. Rodgers played the last preseason. I just think that clicking. And again, he's surefire Hall of Famer. Wilson on the outside. The Jets have a few offensive weapons, and I don't see enough there. But the defense, and I think defense is like pitching in baseball. It just goes anywhere, right? Offense takes a little bit harder. So I'm going to ride with the Jets out of that division. And to be honest with you, I'm riding with the Jets out of that division, and I don't think Rodgers will have an exceptional season. I think he'll have he's Aaron Rodgers. He's great anyway. They have a good season, but not great.
Right.
Not MVP worthy.
Actually, to be honest with you, I know I'm going out on a limb right here, but with all this Aaron Rodgers hype, I don't even think they're going to go. They might go 500.
Ooh.
The Jets might go 500.
Okay. Well, it would have to be 8 and 9 and 9 and 8 in a 17-game season. So no 500.
Yep.
Right?
So I'll give them 8 and 9.
Oh, so you're going 500 will be 9 8, but you're going
they're not.
You're going 8 and 9. I'm going to give them 10. I'm going to give them 10 wins.
You're going to give them 10 and 7.
I'm going to give them 10 and 7. And I don't know how that will play out in terms of wild card, but I'm going to give them 10. I'm going to give them 10. I do. I'm really going to give them 10. As I'm looking around some of the other divisions, I picked the Chiefs to win the AFC West, but I think the Chargers. Right. I think the Chargers.
We definitely can't sleep on them.
I think the Chargers are going to make some noise, and here's why. I think the Chargers have the talent. I think they have all the talent.
Right.
I think there's been a lot of coaching. I think it's been a lot of coaching with the Chargers. Some questionable fourth downs, point conversions. I think it's really been questionable in nature. So I think the Chargers actually going to give the Chiefs a run for the money. I really do. I think the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. Again, you got the best player in football. I don't know what this Kelsey situation will look like. I think they play tonight, obviously, and I think they won't play again for another 10 days. So he has time to heal. I think he'll be fine. I don't know what this Chris Jones situation looks like. So Corey Hill is saying A-Rod will put up big numbers. The Jets will likely make the playoffs. I think the Jets might squeak in as a wild card, man. I see 10 wins. I really, really do. I really, really do. I'm not buying the hype for them to go to Super Bowl. No. But I definitely like them to be, in that division. I think they're going to be tough, man. The Patriots, 8 wins.
And I'm gonna be honest, I actually have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. This is a Baltimore year. You see, I have the Baltimore Orioles hat on.
I like that.
I see them winning. I see them winning the World Series, and I see the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I know y'all might say I sound crazy right now. Like, what does he have in this bottle? This is water. This is not vodka. I know vodka looks clear like this.
I was going to ask you. That's some good tequila you got here on the Thursday night. what brand of tequila? Now let me ask you, because I give Ravens fans just some healthy banter. Is this an emotional pick, G, that you're making? You know, the NFL season starts tonight. You're emotionally charged up. Baltimore guy rocking the Orioles hat. Is this emotional, or is this the logical side of George coming out?
I believe that, the Ravens have came so close for so many years. I believe that this is finally the year that they break through. You have a fully healthy Lamar Jackson with, some new weapons. Even though I'm going to be honest, Odell Beckham, actually today the news came out that he's battling a ankle injury.
I saw that
already. Mark Andrews has not been practicing. He's been doing half the practices because he's having a quad issue. So we have some injuries there, but I still think that we're going to shock the world, man. I know you don't want to believe it, being that you have on your Eagles attire.
Okay. So this is not emotional. This is the logical side.
No, it's not. It's not emotional. I believe that Lamar shows the world he is who he is.
Okay.
He's a superstar.
Indeed, he is.
Top of the line, MVP caliber quarterback. He's not just a running back playing quarterback, but he's an actual, quarterback. He's been working on his throws, making sure he gets them tight throws in there, working on his accuracy, and he's taking this stuff serious, and he's coming out with a chip on his shoulder to show the world that he's a top tier quarterback.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
And Odell Beckham, of course, he had the injuries. A lot of people have written him off, or his career is over. I'm thinking that he's coming out to show that he still has more in the tank. He still has, something to offer a football team.
Okay.
And he's going to be thankful for the Ravens for taking that chance on him. And he's going to show the world, that he's still able to perform at and produce at a high level.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you that a healthy Lamar is he's one of the best quarterbacks in professional football. We cannot take anything away from him. We saw what he did in the MVP year. He absolutely hammered the league, right? Injury season. He's healthy now. New offensive coordinator, right? Does this change some things? He has even more weapons against Zay Flowers, OBJ. It is certainly an opportunity that he can be the MVP form quarterback that we've seen. Again, I think he's going to be phenomenal this year. But the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. Now I'm looking at the AFC. Got the Bills, right? Very formidable team. The Dolphins, high, offensive explosion, right? We can get from them they wouldn't be a real challenge to the Ravens. I think the Jets would be a real challenge. I think the Chiefs could be a real challenge.
They
Obviously,
always a real challenge.
yeah, obviously in the division, we're talking about the Bengals. So I'm thinking about 5 teams out of the AFC the Ravens would have to go through. For me, I don't see the Ravens now. It would certainly depend if the Ravens home field advantage or not, the playoffs. Right now, I can't see that the Ravens going on the road beating the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Bengals if they had to go on the road. I don't see it. I don't see it. So Corey Hill chimes in that the Ravens will be
I
tough.
see, man.
The Ravens defense will have to come alive. All right. Lamar has one playoff win. Yeah,
Hmm.
he's got one.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Come
He's
on.
got one. I mean, he's got okay. So I don't know. I just don't see the Ravens going on the road beating any of these teams. Even at this stage, I don't see the Ravens, even at M&T Bank, beating the Chiefs, the Bengals, or the Bills. I just don't see them. I just don't. I just don't. I really don't.
Hmm.
I really, really don't. I really, really don't. I think the Bills, and again, I picked the Jets for the division, but you mentioned chemistry. There's some chemistry there, man. Josh
Right.
Allen, Diggs is like, you know, Diggs is like frustrated. It's like now or never. They haven't been able to get over the hump. I think they will get over the hump before the Ravens do. Lamar has a lot to prove. I think he is motivated. I'm with you, Corey. I'm with you, my guy. I'm with you 110%. He has a lot to prove. But can he stay healthy? We never had to worry about that, right? The first few years and now last few years, those injuries,
Hmm.
when those injuries come into play. And I'm curious of this, George. Do you think last year with your boy Lamar, do you think toward the end of the season, do you think that was injury or that was like, I want my bread. I'm injured, but I also want my bread and I don't want to, put myself in a really, really bad predicament.
I believe that it was injury.
Okay.
He probably. I'm gonna be honest. He probably could have came back, but he probably was only at about 70%. And when you're talking about sports, you're talking about football, taking those big hits. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to come back 70%. It then take a hit that's
Mm-hmm.
not just going to knock you out for the season, but end your career.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that he played it smart. He was like, I'm not going to come out there and play until I'm fully healthy. I'm not going to play until I'm fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that it was a money issue, even though a lot of people try to say that it is and that it was. But I don't believe that was the issue. I believe that he wanted to play healthy because there's so many football players. Like even if you listen to it was one of the former Ravens. He said that that's retired now.
Mm-hmm.
He said that they would just get him the cortisone shot, and he would go out there, wouldn't feel anything, but then after the game, he feels everything. And he said now he has little kids and he can't even play with them because his knees are messed up. So you got to think about the long run. Do you want to keep shooting, cortisone shots in your knees and all that stuff just to get out there and play? Or would you rather it not be any pain at all and sit out until you're fully healthy? And I believe that Lamar did the right thing by sitting out.
Okay. Okay. So Corey is and Corey, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate interacting with you, man. I know you and I are always going back and forth via IG, just talking sports. So we definitely appreciate you on. So you're tuning in to Talking Head Sports Show with Rashad Mills and G Long. Man, kicking this inaugural episode of the show off. Perfect timing with the NFL season starting just probably under what? 7:30.
I appreciate you, Corey.
Just probably under an hour. The Bills are going to take a step back this year. I think Lamar did his thing. I agree with George. Okay. Okay. Well, listen, man.
And
Go ahead, George.
and just for some clarity, so we won't get no copyright strike. Rashad meant to say taking heads
Oh,
sports.
take it here. Jesus. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Oh my
because
God.
there is a talking head sports. So we just want to clarify that so y'all boys y'all can't come at us because we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah.
Taking Heads sports show. Which that's why you have the quarter there, which means before the football game they flip the coin and you say heads or tails. We taking heads, and that's what it. And we're going to come back to football. I want to get a little bit touch on a little bit of baseball, just a little bit, not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
much.
Let's go. Let's go, man. You rocking the Orioles hat? Let's go.
Yeah, well, I definitely believe that this is the year that the Orioles win the World Series. They started out a little slow. They started out slow, then they came on strong. Then they went back. They slowed down again, and now they're just on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just on fire. And I'm actually going to show. I'm gonna pull up their record right now. Pull up their whole division's record because there's some Yankee fans that I know that don't want to see this, but I have to show it. The Orioles right now are in first place at 87 and 51. And then when you go all the way down here, you see the Yankees at 69 and 69 and the Red Sox at 72 and 67. Now, we don't even have to worry about these two teams right here. Over the years, the Red Sox and the Yankees have always been the ones to give the Orioles problems, especially in the playoffs. But being that it's looking like they're not even going to make the playoffs, we don't have to worry about them. And I believe that it's going to be the Orioles and the Braves in the World Series.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that, Rashad?
I'm going ride with you, man. Orioles 88 and 51, right? Now the Orioles are about to go on a very difficult stretch. So they're 3.5 games up over Tampa Bay for the AL lead for the AL East.
Right.
But I think these next stretch of games are going to be really telling. And I'm still riding with my boys. So off tonight. So tomorrow they start a 3-game series in Boston. Then after that, a 3-game series at home
Mm-hmm.
against the Cardinals. And then we have 4 against the Tampa Bay Rays. If we get out of that stretch, and then
And
Houston comes in for 3 games as well, right after that. So if we get out of that stretch, right? If we get out of that stretch where we have
and that's
faced,
a very important.
yeah. So we get out of that stretch where the Rays, again, 3.5 games behind us, and the Astros, which is just like incredibly talented team. If we got out of that stretch and we still find ourselves, in a perfect world, we would find ourselves still at the bare minimum, 3.5 games above the Rays. I don't want that to decrease. I don't want to go into like the last week and it's really tight. I think this Orioles team can do a lot of damage. This is a young team, incredibly talented team. Adley,
Right.
Rashid, Gunner. I think these guys, and I just think not just for the team, I think for the city of Baltimore, man, it would be so much love if we had the Orioles with home field through the playoffs. Man, I think that would be
Right.
like people like myself who've been down with the cause for a long time, suffered through, these 100-loss seasons. Man, I think it would be phenomenal. I think it'd be phenomenal. But this next stretch, let's say about what 3, 6, 7. So let's say about 15 games will really be telling in terms of how the Orioles.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
and when these 15 games, I believe that we have to go at least 9 and 6.
So you like 9 and 6? Okay.
I like 9 and 6.
Okay. So 9 and 6, I could dig it. 9 and 6. I like that. I like that. So if it's 15, I want to go 10 and 5. That's just me. My anxiety, even as a therapist, my anxiety will kick up. Man, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
that much pressure going into like the final. I don't.
That I would definitely like 10-5.
Yeah,
I said 9-6. I believe that if we go 9-6, we would win out.
yeah, man. I don't want that kind of pressure. I don't want that kind of pressure going into the final few games of the season. No, no. This team needs to be at home. But man, Hod has done an incredible job with his squad, man. And it reminds me of those days when Camden Yards was sold out every night, right? We had the Robbie Alomars and guys like that on the team. It reminds me of
Right.
the Orioles team.
Roberto, yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I got to turn on the Orioles, or if I'm riding down the road, I just grab my phone. Hey, Siri, what's the Orioles score? Right? Like my girls ask, Dad, did the Orioles win? So when my baseball team is winning, man, it's like it's a game changer for me. So I'm really excited and been had the opportunity to go down to the yard a few times. The energy is there, like the energy is
Hmm.
crazy. But I still think people can do a better job of packing Camden Yards, man. This is a first place team.
Right. Did you ever get a chance to go to Memorial Stadium
Oh,
before they
yes.
tore that down? And
Yes.
man, we used to live on the Alameda. Used to live on the Alameda, and you could hear like which is like 8 or 9 blocks down. I lived 8 or 9 blocks down from the stadium. You could hear the roars and all the cheering because you had the Colts and then you had the
Yeah.
Orioles as well.
Yeah. Man, absolutely. A Memorial Stadium was great, man. Eddie, Eddie, those chants, man. And,
Hmm.
and seeing Cal in the lineup, not every night, but every night Cal was in the lineup. It was great.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Iron
great.
Man.
Yeah. That was my first sport that I actually fell in love with, playing Foss Park Little League Baseball. Man, I love the Orioles. So I'm just excited, man, that the Orioles have brought this feel of baseball. Obviously, the Ravens fan base is huge, and the Ravens have been very successful since their arrival in
Right.
Baltimore. Man, just to see that this Orioles team is back. And I thought, I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought that they would take a step back this year. I'm just being 100% honest. A lot of teams that have the success,
Hmm.
they were in it last year. And I thought that they would take a step back, but to see them not only take a step forward, but to take a major leap forward, and this late in the season,
Hmm.
top the AL East, man, I think it's wonderful. I think it's great for the city, and what I also think is great for is that they're winning. It brings in some non-traditional baseball fans, people that wouldn't, normally, and then the bandwagon fans. But okay, man, the Orioles are winning. They go to the stadium, and they might go to the stadium just to drink a cold one and have some fun. But they're at the stadium when they're rocking the Orioles gear. Yeah, of course, that I was locked in with baseball back in the days. Yeah, because this is a great baseball town. This is a great baseball town. So I'm glad to
Yes,
see.
it is.
And anytime that Yankees fans are silenced,
Man, they are silent. Oh, I
yeah,
tell you.
yeah, it's nothing they could tell us right now. And I don't want to hear about last year. I'm an advocate. You're good as your last game. I'm a huge advocate.
Right.
You as your last game, right? And so
Cause it's
that's
man, it's a lot of people I can call out right now, but I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. I'm gonna just enjoy the Orioles, being in first place, actually going to the World Series, I believe, and winning the World Series. And like I said, I believe they're going to play the Braves in the World Series.
that
Because the
Braves team.
Braves are smash, man. They tough, boy.
They tough. That Braves team is tough, man. That Braves team is tough. Acuna Jr., man, it's probably the MVP.
They
Maybe
90 and 47.
yeah, they are tough. They are tough. Now it actually slips my brain, and you, Corey, can help me out this uh when the Orioles played the Braves earlier this year. I can't remember. Did we take 2 out of 3 for them or vice versa? I can't remember. I can't remember. I'm trying to look it up very quickly, but I can't quite remember right off the top of my head. Because I
Yeah, I'm
think,
trying to remember myself.
listen, I think that the Orioles are going to be competitive with no matter who they play. Astros came in town. I think the Dodgers got the better of us that season, that series. I'm almost certain that the Dodgers did. But I believe, like, I am an advocate that the Orioles can hang. It doesn't matter. Braves, Dodgers, it doesn't matter. And even in the AL East with the Astros, I just believe that. I really do believe that this Orioles team is. I would love for it to be like this year. Yeah, because it's great. The atmosphere is just great at the ball yard, man. It really, really is. So yeah.
Man, it definitely is. And it's also, as we've talked about football, baseball, I just want to do a little bit of basketball. I have a short thumbs up or thumbs down segment. I'm gonna give the kind of the rules of this segment right here.
Jump into
Like
it.
there's a question that's going to be asked. If you agree with it, you give the thumbs up, and if you disagree with it, you give the thumbs down.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna jump right into this first one. The first one, there's been a lot of rumbling because um, and talking about Steph Curry. Steph Curry was being interviewed by Gilbert Arenas, and Gilbert Arenas asked Steph Curry, was he the greatest point guard of all time? And he said, yeah, it's me and Magic. And he said, do you believe that you're the greatest point guard of all time? He said, yes, I believe that I'm the greatest point guard of all time. Now, I'm gonna give that a thumbs down. He's definitely not the greatest point guard of all time. First of all, you have all these great point guards. I believe Magic is the greatest point guard of all time. Then you have Oscar Robertson, you have Isaiah Thomas, you have John Stockton, Jason Kidd. Now I know Steph has won more
Mhm.
um, rings than a lot of these guys, but when you talk about a point guard, the job of a point guard is to a point guard. The definition of a point guard in basketball is to chiefly he's chiefly responsible for running the offense. Point guards are expected to run the team's offense by controlling the ball and making sure it gets to the right player at the right time. Now, I'm telling you, I'm a Steph Curry fan. I'm a Warriors fan. You know, I like the Warriors. If you watch the Warriors game, Steph Curry doesn't do all that. He might bring the ball up court, but when they get into their offensive set, he goes right to the top of the key. He hands the ball off to Draymond. Then Steph Curry starts running through all these screens he runs through about 1,000 screens that they're setting for him. Basically like getting his Reggie Miller on. Remember the Pacers back in the day?
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
Pacers, they used to always set all these screens and
yeah.
picks for Reggie Miller to try to get open. That's the same thing that they do for Steph Curry. Now, when they get the ball to Draymond, Draymond is at the top of the key. If he can get the ball to Steph, if Steph can get open off of one of them screens, he'll pass it to him. But Draymond becomes the primary decision maker,
Yep.
which was in the definition of what a point guard is controlling the ball and making sure that it gets to the right player at the right time. Now, a lot of times, someone might do a back cut and you'll see Draymond throw the ball back screen or whatever. He's basically running point guard. Steph Curry is saying that he's the greatest point guard of all time, but he's basically an undersized shooting guard, undersized two. Now, of course, he's not going to say I'm the greatest two guard of all time. When you talk about two guards,
Smite.
you rubbing elbows.
For
You rubbing elbows. You got Mike over there. You got Kobe over there. You got Reggie Miller over there. You got Clyde Drexler over there. You can even go Mitch Richmond. Man, you have all these awesome two guards that even Ray Allen before he became
Yeah,
just a plain shooter.
yeah.
So I definitely don't believe that Steph Curry is the greatest point guard of all time.
So you
You
feel as
can't
though
be the point guard, man. Even though um, Chris Paul doesn't have a ring. He's even more of a pure point guard. He's the definition of a point guard, more of a point guard than Steph Curry, to the point where the Golden State Warriors had to go out and get Chris Paul to run point guard for the Warriors.
Okay.
While Steph Curry is going to continue to come off those 10,000 screens to try to get open.
So Corey Hill went thumbs down. So it's 2 for thumbs down. I am going to be in alignment with you guys and go thumbs down as well. Here's why I'm going to go with thumbs down. I agree with you that Magic Johnson, Irvin Magic Johnson, man, is the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
In the truest definition, which you gave us, right? So if we went to dictionary.com and got the truest definition of point guard, I think Magic embodies that quality. Magic distributes the ball, everybody involved, right? Kareem, Worthy, Magic gets everybody involved. So I think Magic Johnson is the truest point guard. Now, I will say this, and this is going to be, I might ruffle some feathers with this one. When we talk about pure point guards, and here's the interesting thing when we ask these questions. This is why I love talking sports, because there's always a way to split hairs. When we ask the question, is Steph Curry the greatest point guard of all time? No, he isn't, because of Magic. Now, I would say this. If we took Magic away, you know why I would say Steph is the greatest point guard of all times? And this is, again, we're going to be splitting hairs a little bit. By definition, he's a point guard. So it's not that that we can quantify, using it correctly, him being a 2 guard, but he plays the position of point guard. He's a point guard. No matter how you toss it, he's a point guard. It's like the running quarterback. Well, he's a quarterback, but he happens to run. There is no category for just running quarterback. There's a category for quarterback. There is no category for pure point guard. There's a category for point guard. And so by definition alone, he's not the greatest point guard ever because Magic is there. If Magic isn't there, I would have to agree and say, man, you know what? Steph would be the greatest point guard if we took Magic out of the equation. Magic being in the equation, Magic is the greatest point guard just simply because of what Magic has done, getting everybody involved, coupled with the fact that Magic has more rings. But if we said, we're talking pure point guard, yeah, he's not the greatest. And again, if Magic is in there, I think some of the names that you name are great point guard. CP3, great point guard. I think Steph is better than him. I do. If we're talking, again, not just being a pure point guard, because we can't quantify him as pure point guard. Steph is better than him. Steph is better than Isaiah Thomas. Steph is better than the John Stockton, right? It's like, who else? I mean, this guy has, 4 rings? He got his finals MVP this year. Is that 2 finals MVPs for him? 1.
I believe it's 2.
Okay. I mean, it's like, man. And yes, he does the running around the 10,000 screens, but he's still a point guard. And yes, watching the game, right? When you watch the game, like you and I, you can see that Draymond, like by skill on the court, Draymond is really the point guard. Everything goes through Draymond.
Yep.
But by definition of alone, he's the point guard. Is he a pure point guard? No.
No.
But, so to answer your question, I'll go thumbs down. Thumbs down. I said all that to say thumbs down. I think Magic, just watching Magic get everybody involved, man, it was like the truest version of a point guard. Yeah. Corey, don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Corey. Isaiah Steph? No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Don't do it. George, don't tell me you're riding along. Are you riding along with that, George?
No. As far as being a pure point guard, I agree with that.
You can't say that.
I'm not sure.
See, George,
I'm not sure if he's
But you can't say pure.
I'll take Steph over Isaiah. I'll take Steph over Isaiah.
Corey, I'm very interested. Man, please write it in the comment section why you would take Isaiah over Steph. And let's throw out the pure point guard because there's no category for pure point guard. The category is just point guard. Now, oh man, he's all right. He says no way. So are you saying no way
Hmm.
Isaiah is over Steph, or no way that Steph is over Isaiah? I'm looking for clarity. Because no, we can't do that, man. Steph is just, um, I don't know. Steph is just he's just man, and I never want to get caught in hyperbole, right? And I never want to get caught in the moment either. But Steph has changed the course of the game, and you could change the game and not be great. But like Steph changed the game. He changed basketball as we know it. As we know it.
Yeah, he has, but actually not in a good way. It's not in a good way because you have the young kids now coming down. It's a fast break, 2-on-1 fast break. They pulling up for a three.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
lay the ball up. I tell my son all the time. I'm like, man, go to the rack. Go to the rack. And when you go to the rack, expect contact. Go to the rack hard like you expect to get fouled. And he started doing like, Dad, you're right. Because he started getting easy buckets because the young kids, they're not used to really playing defense because they're so used to everybody pulling up for three. So when you attack that rack, that's an easy bucket every time.
Yeah, the
I'm
game's
like,
changed.
even though I'm a shooter, don't get me wrong, I'm a shooter. I can shoot the lights out. My son can shoot the lights out. That's why he always was pulling up for three. But now he has a nice mix. He'll drive, he'll mid range. If the three is there, he'll pull it. But you definitely have to, go to the rack. Everything is not, Steph has changed the game, but it's definitely not in a good way. I don't believe.
So I think Corey is going in favor of Zeke over Steph, leadership, toughness, and being an alpha. All of those things are certainly qualities that we would attribute to Isaiah Thomas. So don't get me wrong. I just, I never liked it anyway. But Isaiah was tough. I mean, Isaiah was tough, man. But over Steph, I can't, I just cannot do it. I just cannot. Steph is a liability on the defensive end. You could say that. Now I'm with you. Yes, I give you that. That's a great point. However, Steph has
He,
improved dramatically.
yes, he has
He's
improved
improved dramatically.
defensively.
Now I'm with you. Steph certainly has. You can look at him like, all right, let's go with Steph. Um, Corey said, yes, the game is horrible now. And I always joke. Listen, G, I always joke with Corey when we're going back and forth. IG. I said, Corey, you remind me of the old man. It's like, get off my lawn, right? So Corey is not like for the
hmm
actual celebrating and the trash talking, and I'm all for that. I am, as long as it's not outrageous. I'm all for that. Yes, I agree. The game has changed a lot. I don't want to see the 6'10" guy pulling up, shooting a fadeaway three or dribbling or dancing around, the ball in his hands. So I agree. There's some bad parts of it, but for me personally, I'm going to take Steph over Isaiah. I think his skill set is it's a skill set that, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, that I don't know that we've seen with that handle, that ability to shoot like that. I don't know if we've ever seen that. Like Reggie had the range, not the handle. Stockton, pure point guard.
Right.
I'm not afraid of Stockton other than the pick and roll on the offensive end. Isaiah was a dog on offense, right? He was tough. He didn't have that range. Like Magic didn't have that range. So when we name these point guards, like offensively, I don't think I see anybody that I'm afraid of at that level. I don't. And to be honest with you, um, like AI had the handle. I'm gonna bring AI in the conversation. Huge AI fan. AI had the handle,
Mm.
not the range. Um, Now, and I know we got to get some other segments really quick. I'm just going to throw this out there. I didn't have this plan, but
hmm
out there. Corey and G. I'm not talking. I'm saying guards, right? We play two different positions. AI,
hmm
Steph.
You said AI was Steph.
AI or Steph.
Hmm. I would still go. I would go Steph to be honest with you.
Okay. Corey, if you are still there, Corey said the game is hard to watch now. You're right. I want to hear your thoughts. AI Steph, and man, I'm gonna be honest. If I take AI Steph, this is gonna be so hard. This is gonna be so hard. But I'm a man. I'm gonna go with Steph. Just like
You know what?
man, AI was. Oh my gosh, that guy was like next level tough.
Yes, he was, man.
If I wanted to go to war, he was a dog. I'm gonna take him to war, man. He was a dog.
Definitely.
You know, he was the first time I watched him, Georgetown came on TV, and I was like, man, who is this cat flying up and down the court? He was just a
Yeah, I
dog.
remember we were watching it at Merville in our shop class. Our shop teacher would turn it on when there was March Madness. We would watch AI.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would. Unfortunately, I would have to take Steph over AI.
Okay.
Even though, because my thing is, AI is also in that same boat as Steph. He's not a true point guard. He actually only really played point guard his first year. After
Yeah.
that, he moved over to the two.
Yeah. Corey said
And
AI isn't in the conversation. No, that's hard, man. Those are two guys that I love to watch, Steph, and I love to watch AI, man.
yeah, he moved over to the two. And then both of them playing those, doing like the same thing, like being like undersized twos. Steph, impacts winning more than AI. Even though AI
Yeah.
took Philly to the finals, Steph actually he impacts winning more than AI does.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hard thing to say, man, because AI, that's my dude right there, man.
Yeah, he was, man, he was the thing about AI that I like before we transition, um, man, AI was incredibly gifted as an athlete, right? Recruited by football teams, things of
Right.
that nature. And he said football was actually his best sport. I mean, just a beast on the
Yep, it
football,
was.
but he played as if he didn't have that talent and he had to go that hard just to stay there. So it was like incredibly gifted, but he played so hard. I mean, he played like, he was a 7 man off the bench, man. If I get in the game, I'll never know if I have the opportunity to get back. And that's how hard he played. And that's what I appreciated. Man, he just played every game like it was his last, every possession. He was diving on the floor. And Corey Hill said he's Merville class of 95. I don't know if you guys may have crossed each other in the hallways at some point.
Yeah, I'm class of '96.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Merville is cool.
Merville class of '96.
Everybody can't go to Woodlawn, so Merville is cool. Everybody can't go to Woodlawn, so no, I'm having fun with
funny.
you, man. And I'll say this really quick before we transition, man. Do you guys remember the Reebok commercial where AI was on the table and it was like they were highlighting all the injuries that he had? It was,
I remember that.
man, this dude played through literally everything. So yeah, AI was one of my guys. So I know we're gonna be wrapping up pretty soon, but I wanted to get to this segment of the show. It's called Outside the Lines, and I know ESPN has an Outside the Lines, but we're not competing with ESPN, no copyright issues, nothing like that. And I really just wanted to say Outside the Lines for me as a mental health therapist. When I look at sports, I always look at the competitive part of sports. That's what attracted me to sports. But I always see if I can find a mental health sort of element attached to sport, right? I always see if I can actually find that, or I can find a player or a coach, and it's a mental health component that really speaks to me in a special way. And the thing that really speaks to me this week, Outside the Lines, it's really Darren Waller, who was formerly with the Raiders. Before that, he was actually here with the Ravens for a short period of time. And he wasn't the, all-pro tight end that we know him to be now. So right now he's with the New York Giants. And I really, really like his story because number one, he battled alcoholism and he has been clean. He's been able to get his life together. And I watched the interview with him on the Pivot, a new one I think last night I actually watched it, but I watched one last year with him. And it always has stuck to me in a very special place because I have struggled with alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
You're sober. And when I watch that, I just think that it's the ultimate encouragement for people that no matter what you are going through, man, that you can still overcome those challenges and still walk in purpose. His purpose is this world class
Right.
athlete, right? And so for people that are actually going to watch this show, Taking Head Sports, and to the athletes that's going to be watching the show, I encourage people never allow the addictions or distractions to remove the gift that God has for you. Man, he has an incredible gift. And I am just so glad that every time I watch him, I would love the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles uniform. Man, I see him out there doing his thing. And he said he had failed like 100 like drug tests, like the NFL, like 100. And for him to get clean
Wow.
and be clean and is walking in his purpose, doing his thing. And I pray that that brother can remain sober. And he's actually married to the Las Vegas Aces guard, Kelsey Plum, newly married. So, man, that's my outside of the lines thought this week. That Darren Waller continues to remain sober. And he's the only person that if the Eagles play and my man does his thing, I wouldn't even be mad. I hope that they don't win the game, but if he catches a few touchdowns, I'm cool. I just hope the Giants never beat us. However, that's my outside
Right.
segment this week, just to see that brother remain sober and truly, truly continue to beat the odds of addiction and walk in his greatness on the field. Yeah, that's
Definitely give you a round of applause for that, man.
that's special for me. That's special for me. Yeah, that is really special for me.
Man, that was definitely an awesome and amazing outside the lines segment.
Yeah,
And it has been an awesome show, man. Thank you to each and every person who tuned in. Thank you for Corey for being so interactive with us on tonight, man. We truly appreciate you,
yeah,
bro.
yes.
And don't forget, I said Kansas City wins tonight 31-14. And Rashad, what was your score?
My
I think
score,
you said 27-20.
I'm looking at it now. We keep it receipts, baby. 27-20. I have KC winning. 27-20. Yep.
Man, this has been awesome, man. My boy Rashad, man, I'ma holler at you, my dude. And we thank each and every one of y'all for riding with us on tonight on the Taking Head Sports Show. We love y'all. Holler at your boys, and we out. Go Orioles. I see them. Yeah, go. I see that Eagle hat. Go Orioles. Go Ravens. Told you it was a double Baltimore year this year, man.